'cause I love you a bushel and a peck.
I love traditions, and this is one I've wanted to do for a long time, and this year my kids were finally old enough. In September, we read the book Applesauce Season by Eden Ross Lipson.
Applesauce season starts just about the time school opens, when it's still hot and summery but vacation is over. One day Grandma says, it's time for applesauce.
Then we go to the apple orchard and pick our own apples.
Don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. No, 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 don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. Till I come marching home.
We bring them home and make homemade applesauce, just like in the book. Well, we overdid it just a little bit and ended up with about 45 pounds of apples. So, I'm going to show you some yummy recipes using apples. Today I'm going to show you how to make apple pie applesauce and wassail applesauce. The book uses a food mill, but I don't have one of those. So I'm going to peel and core my apples before I cook them and then puree them in a food processor.
We are using 6 pounds of apples for this recipe. In the book, they say there must be at least 3 kinds of apples in each pot of sauce for real flavor. So that's what we have. The main character gets to help wash the apples and hand them to the mom to be cut up. So that's the job that I give my kids. After the apples have been washed, you'll need to peel, core, and cut them. Place them in a heavy bottom sauce pot or Dutch oven and add 2 cups of apple cider or apple juice. This is where the apple pie flavor comes in. Add the following spices. Cover and turn the heat to medium. Boil until the apples are soft and bubbly, stirring every so often to make sure all the apples get cooked. Place the apples in a food processor and puree until desired texture is reached. Then pour back into the pot. Now we add the sugar. Start with about half a cup. I like to use half brown and half white, but you can use whatever you like. As the book shows, add a pinch of salt and a teaspoon of butter and stir. Then taste and make adjustments according to your preferences. These apples were pretty tart, so I'm going to add some more sugar, and it looks a little dry, so I'm going to add some more cider. Next, you can either store your jars in the refrigerator or proceed with the canning process. See the I Think I Can canning video on my blog for canning instructions. As stated in the book, when different types of apples come in and out of season, your sauce will look different with each batch. Now for the wassail applesauce. Prepare 6 pounds of apples just like we did for the other applesauce and put them in your pot with 1 can of crushed pineapple and 2 cups of orange juice. I'm not a huge fan of cloves, so I just put in a pinch, but you could put in more. And 1 stick of cinnamon, because you know, wassail. Or you could just add a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Cook them just like before and then puree them and add the butter, salt, and sugars. Then you can make the necessary adjustments for taste. Again, mine's a little dry, so I'm going to add some cider.
Next, I'm going to show you how to make apple butter.
I'm using the recipe from a book I have called Preserve It by Linda Brown, with a few minor changes. I start with 6 pounds of apples prepared just like the sauce. Place them in my pot and add 2 cups of orange juice, cinnamon and allspice to taste, and 3½ cups of sugar. Cover and bring to a boil, stirring often to prevent burning. As the mixture cooks, it will thicken and turn a deep brown color. You know it's ready when it rests on the back of a wooden spoon without running off the sides. Store in the fridge or can for later.
This is another really simple and really good apple recipe. Apple fritter donut holes.
In a sauce pot, heat 2 cups of oil. You could also use a deep fryer for this. While you are waiting on the oil, peel, cut, and thinly slice 1 tart apple. Place in a skillet and add a tablespoon of butter and 2 tablespoons of sugar. Sauté until the apples are soft. Take a can of refrigerated biscuits and cut them into fourths. Prepare a bowl of cinnamon and sugar. Fry the biscuit pieces until golden brown. This happens quickly, so watch out for burning. Remove from the oil and immediately roll in the sugar mixture. Now you could eat them just like this, and it would be very good. Or you can continue on and add the apples. Apple fritter donut holes. Yum.
And what's more American than apple pie?
I basically just used the Better Homes and Gardens recipe with a few improvements. Wash, peel, core, and thinly slice 5 to 7 tart apples and place them in a bowl. Add 3/4 a cup sugar. I like to do 1/2 cup of white and 1/4 cup of brown, 2 tablespoons of flour, a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and my secret ingredient, 1/4 teaspoon of ginger. Stir and transfer to your bottom crust. Dot with butter and place on the top crust with ventilation slits. Flute the edges as shown. Brush with milk and sprinkle with sugar. And bake at 400 degrees for 45 to 50 minutes. Oh, and there's always the classic caramel and apples. Just melt some caramel squares, thin out with a little milk, and top with some sea salt for a richer flavor. Now how about them apples?
I love you, a bushel and a peck, a bushel and a peck, and a hug around the neck, a hug around the neck, and a barrel and a heap, a barrel and a heap, and I'm talking in my sleep about you, about you.